Protestants do not believe in purgatory, so why do Catholics? That is a great question. The doctrine of purgatory has developed over time, and so I don't want to get too much into the development of doctrine right now, but there has been a sort of gradual growth and understanding of what does it mean to get into heaven. Now, in the book of Revelation, the Apocalypse, there is this discussion about nothing imperfect entering into heaven. And so the thought has always been that there must be a sort of perfection that a soul must undergo in order to enter into heaven. And so there's this idea that we must go beyond what we have now, because if we have attachments to sin in our own personal lives, those things will keep us out of heaven. So there must be some sort of purgative process. Push it further, we can find in the book of Maccabees this discussion of praying for the dead, that there is that these people committed sin, and so Judas Maccabeus has his soldiers offer up a sacrifice for the fallen soldiers that they might be forgiven of their sins. So this idea that there is something that happens afterward waiting purgation. We can even point to another passage, and this comes from Tertullian. Tertullian commenting on one of the passages of scripture that says the parable of the servant who was lent money and then refused to forgive others. It has this little weird thing at the end, and the master will hand that servant over the torturers, and he will not be released until he pays the last penny, which Tertullian then interpreted that as being a reference to the necessity of being purged of sin before going into heaven. And so Tertullian didn't have a full understanding of what purgatory would mean, but we see this idea going back to even the beginnings of the church. All this to say, purgatory is a sort of difficult thing, and we don't quite know what it is, if it's a location, if it's a state. What we do know is the process that takes place there. The soul is purified so that it can enter into heaven.